You're watching Tyne Tees Television on Channel 3 in the North East. Now, with the time at 6 o'clock, we join Mike Neville.
Yes, hope you're enjoying Christmas. A rather special programme tonight. In half an hour, I'll be joined by two teams of celebrities here in Studio One for a seasonal look back at the lighter side of life here in the North East. Stay with us to see how much of 1996 you can remember with a festive news quiz coming up shortly. But first, the main news of the day with Andrew.
Abandoned at Christmas, the newborn baby girl left out in the freezing cold. And record sales in the region as bargain hunters set the tills ringing. Good evening. Also tonight we have a roundup of the North East sport and a special item for all lovers of nostalgia. But first, police on Tyneside are trying to trace the mother of a newborn baby girl found abandoned outside in the freezing cold. The baby, who's been given the name Molly, was found in Gateshead by a paperboy doing his rounds. Hospital authorities have appealed for the mother to contact them urgently.
Baby Molly is now recovering in the maternity unit at Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Gateshead. Staff say she's improved considerably since being admitted yesterday morning, suffering from the effects of her ordeal. Molly was found abandoned beside this house in Wansford Way in Wickham by 13-year-old paperboy Darren Sims. She was crying and covered in just a thin sheet. The temperature was below freezing. Darren, who's now ill in bed with flu, immediately dashed home to tell his mother Margaret, who went to investigate.
I just couldn't believe that anybody could do it, especially at this time of year, because it's just so cold. I mean, they've left the baby. She wasn't hidden, so I would say they wanted somebody to find her, but at the same time, if she'd been there for a lot longer, she just wouldn't have been alive.
Molly was given her name by the police and paramedics who took her to hospital. She weighs 6 pounds 14 ounces and is a perfectly normal baby. The hospital authorities here say they're very concerned for the welfare of Molly's mother. They believe she may need urgent medical treatment and they've asked her to get in touch without delay.
If she feels that she cannot contact people herself, that if she rang the maternity unit, we would arrange for her to be seen by a midwife or a doctor. We're not about causing any trouble for Molly's mother. We just want to give her the help and support that any newly delivered mother requires at this time.
The hospital authorities believe Molly was born on Christmas Day or early on Boxing Day morning. They say that in the extreme cold, she would have survived no more than a couple of hours if she hadn't been found.
A Wearside schoolgirl has died from meningitis. 14-year-old Donna Thompson from Washington was admitted to Newcastle General Hospital on Monday. She died the next day. Health experts say another Washington teenager is being treated for the disease and a baby from Sunderland is being tested.
14-year-old Donna Thompson was a pupil at Ox Close Secondary School in Washington. Doctors say she'd contracted meningococcal meningitis, the most serious form of the disease. Donna had been feeling unwell last weekend. Her condition quickly got worse. On Monday, she was admitted to the intensive care unit at Newcastle General Hospital. On Tuesday, Christmas Eve, she died.
It's very tragic, deaths in this condition. It can be very, very quick. And there are, cases which have been recognised as going to bed, feeling off colour one night and being found dead or very seriously ill the next morning. It's very variable. The majority of cases, you do get several days, 2 or 3 days, but in a minority of cases, it can be very rapidly progressive.
Doctors have diagnosed another case of meningitis in the Washington area. A 16-year-old girl, a pupil at Shiny Row College, was admitted yesterday to Sunderland General Hospital. A baby from the Southwick area of the city is being tested for the disease.
It's actually quite a difficult diagnosis, even for experienced medical practitioners, to discern, say, from influenza, which is very common at this time of year. So very difficult for parents, very difficult even for experienced medical practitioners. So people need to be aware and alert.
Among the symptoms to look out for are fever and vomiting, a severe headache, aching limbs and drowsiness. Doctors say there's no link between any of the 3 cases and the risks to other students at the 2 schools are very low.
Philippa Young reporting. The police are becoming increasingly concerned for the safety of a mother and daughter missing from their home on Wearside. 30-year-old Karen Fairclough and her daughter Donna, who's 13, were last seen at their home in Hodenley Spring a week ago. Mrs. Fairclough suffers from depression and hasn't taken her medication with her. The pair also left without taking any spare clothes. Traffic problems on the Newcastle Central Motorway have meant a big boost in revenue for the Tyne Tunnel. Many drivers are using the tunnel rather than risk delays on the motorway caused by roadworks and closures. And the tunnel's expecting to receive £7 million from tolls by the end of the financial year. That's £250,000 more than forecast. The bargain hunters have been out in force for the first day of the winter sales. Some braved the freezing weather and queued for days so they could be first in line when the shops opened this morning. For many stores, it's been their best day of the year, with takings easily topping last year's figures. And roads and car parks around the Metro Centre at Gateshead were jammed.
Shops across the region are ringing in massive takings as their sales started today. For most stores, this is the best day of the year. By this afternoon, takings were already topping last year's figure. The Metro Centre at Gateshead is expecting a record-breaking number of customers. By 3 this afternoon, there'd already been 100,000 people through its doors. Last Monday, the record was set at 158,000. Roads to the Metro Centre and into Newcastle were jammed with shoppers, and car parks were overflowing.
This is the biggest single day of the year in our calendar, so the expectation's high, but you never quite count your chickens. But today has been quite exceptional already. It actually took us 6 minutes just to let the queue in. The stream of people at 8:30 was tremendous. It was very cold.
Among the hardiest of the bargain hunters was Sheila Bradley and her cousin Malcolm Kidd. They queued outside a furniture store in Newcastle for 3 nights, but they were the first through the door this morning. Their reward was a 3-piece suite, which was reduced from almost £2,000 to just £99.
It's something I've been going to do for a few years, but someone's always come, but this year was definitely getting it this year.
And some people might say it's madness. What do you think about it?
It probably is. But I think when you're wanting something as much as what I did, I was really going to get it this year.
Retailers across the region are hoping that this signals an upturn which will continue well into the new year.
Pensioners' rights groups say they're angry at the government's refusal to give cold weather payments to elderly people in the region. Despite a run of low temperatures over the holiday period, thousands of pensioners will miss out on the payments, which the government announced today will only be payable to pensioners who live in the Scottish Highlands and parts of North Devon.
Dave Punchin of Teesside Age Concern says the government discriminates against elderly people who don't meet the DSS rules for extra payments. Under the rules, the average temperatures must be below 0 Celsius for 7 days running. Today, the government announced only those pensioners living in the Highlands of Scotland would receive extra money for the Christmas period.
What they should do throughout the winter months is give pensioners an increase in their basic pension to cover the extra costs of heating. Equally, all pensioners should have access to the home energy schemes, which that was abolished about 2 years ago, where now again that is only eligible to people with income support or at a discounted rate to people over 60. But everybody over the age of 60 should get access to the energy advice and insulation, which would make life that much easier for them.
The extra payments amount to £8.50 a week, but are only available to families with children under 5, the disabled and pensioners claiming income support.
You just have to be careful with the heat. You can't leave the heat on and that, like, you know.
Everybody should be treated the same. You could be 10 pence over and you get nothing.
I don't see why we shouldn't get them, because we're still pensioners, we're still paid our income tax all our lives.
But even if the rules for winter payments were relaxed, it's thought that up to 1 million pensioners in Britain would still not get help because they don't know they're entitled to it.
A mother here in the region has made a desperate plea for her son's killers to give themselves up. It's now 3 years since Paul Logan, who was 27, was clubbed to death outside a remote farmhouse near Shotley Bridge. And despite a £15,000 reward, the police say they're no nearer to finding his attackers.
Despite dozens of Christmas cards, Paul's family haven't put any of them on display. They appreciate the thoughts, but since the murder, they can't bear to celebrate.
Christmas, as far as I'm concerned, never exists anymore. I try and get through Christmas as I would any other day of the year. It's not... You try and make it happy as you can for children, but you can only go so much. Do you know what I mean? I can't explain it because I can't celebrate Christmas. I can't.
Paul was clubbed to death 3 years ago, just 2 days before Christmas. He was delivering a Chinese takeaway to a remote location a few miles away. When he arrived, it turned out to be a hoax. He was ambushed as he left.
We don't know why, and the police don't know why. Apparently when somebody's killed, they go for the motive first, and we can find no motive, so we don't know.
For the sake of his children, the family buy presents, but 3-year-old Natalie and Michael, who's 7, suffered too.
A terrible impact, especially on his son. A terrible impact. When all the family are together, he realises his dad's not there, and he cries. I mean, cries. And he just, every day he talks about his dad.
Despite police efforts and a £10,000 reward from his parents, detectives are no further forward. His mother says she still hopes the killer will be caught.
Well, I'd be able to go out without thinking, was it you or was it you? Because you get the strangest ideas in your head. You're in a supermarket, you're looking at people. You know you're doing it, but you can't help yourself. And it just makes you not trust anyone.
Police say the case remains open and they're following up any new leads.
As we heard there, Christmas is generally regarded as a time for families to get together. But often that very togetherness can lead to increasing stresses and strains. For Relate, the organisation that helps couples cope with marriage and relationship difficulties, this is one of the busiest times of year. Relate helps many overcome the friction and heartache that sometimes erupts, and for the vast majority there is a happy ending. Andy Byrne has this report.
It's meant as a time of peace, understanding and goodwill, but sometimes goodwill can break down, understanding takes a holiday, and peace lies in tatters.
I'm usually tired, so that makes David more frustrated.
You don't say you've got a headache, but you might as well.
It all adds up to the busiest time of the year for the Relationships Emergency Service.
Good afternoon, Relate.
At Christmas everybody thinks it's a family time, but for each couple there's actually 2 families. And you're often torn between one and the other. You know, do I go to my mother's, do I go to her mother's? And those sort of tensions.
A mother still comes first, the children still come first, the neighbours still come first. The dog comes before I do.
It is a difficult time. No matter how good a family and relationship you've got, it's not an easy time.
David and Susan.
And those who come for counselling.
Rousing difficulties lately.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, would you like to tell me what that's about, how it feels?
Do you want to start?
Why should I bother?
Well,
the counselling takes place for 1 hour each week, at the same time each week. And we hope to achieve with couples to explore their difficulties, to find out how the difficulties arose, and sometimes to connect those with difficulties they may have had in the past, bereavements, things of that kind, life events that affect people and therefore their relationships. And once we've done that with the couple, it's very often possible to look at what choices they may have to change the situation that they're in for the better.
Oh, Susan, I'm always telling you.
But are you saying I don't do anything for you?
No, but you're just never there. You never make time for me.
Well, as often as not, the difficulties are quite evident when a couple come in, the initial difficulty anyway. And very often that's about a thing as simple as communication. People thinking that they're making themselves clear, but their partner mishears or misreads what they say, take up the wrong implication, and so the communication is lost.
When you say you don't give advice, why not?
Well, if you have a problem and I tell you what to do and you do it and it doesn't work, then somehow that's my problem as well, isn't it? And counsellors don't get involved in that way.
Talking candidly about the problems that brought them to Relate, the following couple prefer to remain anonymous. They've been married for 9 years. At what stage did you feel the relationship was breaking down? What was it that was going wrong?
I think it was really communication and ideas.
You know, I had ideas about going to certain places and being there, or living in a certain style, and my wife felt differently about them, had different ideas and different background, really.
I think I felt I was failing in the relationship, and I felt in a bit of a negative situation. So I felt by going to Relate, it was a positive move.
So when you both came to Relate, in what way did it help? What did they make you do that was different?
Talk together, discuss things.
The third party being there, we were actually in a controlled situation where we had to listen to what the other person had to say, and didn't end up in an argument.
It's like a mediator between warring factions. If you're going to have peace, you're going to have a mediator, presumably.
How successful are you at cementing the cracks in the relationships that appear at this time of year?
This is one issue that obviously concerns us, and we've recently done, our national organisations, quite a large piece of research asking clients just how effective we were. And the outcome of that was that 90% of our clients who come as a couple leave as couples. So I think in terms of helping people stay together, we're very effective.
Are you now both back in a happy relationship that you both hope will last?
Well, we're in a relationship which is more tolerable than it was. There's more harmony.
If it's worth preserving, or if there's anything to be retained, then it's important to give it maximum chance to do so.
Andy Byrne with that report. Football now, and I can imagine a few strained relationships in Homes on Tyneside, with Newcastle United's bewildering loss of form. Lots of happy faces on Wearside and on Teesside, though, where Sunderland and Middlesbrough both chalked up victories. Simon O'Rourke reports on the Boxing Day action.
It was the Christmas present every Borough fan wanted. A first win in 13 games, they were off and running when Craig Hignett got the opener. But Everton were back in it when Derek White handled Gary Speed's cross for no apparent reason. Clearly a penalty, and clearly no trouble at all to David Unsworth. Clayton Blackmore was only in the team because of Borough's much-hyped injury crisis, but the Welshman delivered with a curling shot past Neville Southall to edge Borough back in front. Nick Barmby was making his return to the Riverside after his switch to Everton, and he crossed for Duncan Ferguson to head the visitors level again. But the second half was all about Juninho. The little Brazilian was on fire, and he put Borough back in front. Borough's last league win was at Everton on September the 14th, but Juninho made sure the long wait was over. Borough go to Coventry tomorrow. Sunderland's Christmas bonus came at a cost. Kevin Ball fractured his jaw in this challenge. The Roker captain actually played on for nearly 20 minutes before he was taken to hospital at half-time, but now he faces a long layoff. Sunderland's breakthrough came when Martin Smith whipped in a corner and Richard Ord stole across to head the Wearsiders towards a welcome 3 points. And when Paul Bracewell sent Craig Russell through, he finished Derby off. Sunderland are up to 11th place now in the Premiership. Tomorrow, it's a crucial game in the capital against West Ham United.
Christmas, sense of sort the table out really, from the top to the bottom. So, we've just got to go down to West Ham, play the way we've played today, stop them playing, and do the same with Coventry, and hopefully we can get 3 points.
Alan Shearer was back at Blackburn for the first time since his £15 million move, but all he had to show for his afternoon's work was a booking. David Batty was also returning to his former club, and he came closest for United, but his shot was spectacularly turned away by Tim Flowers. And Blackburn pinched the points with a messy goal. Kevin Gallagher was the man who eventually scored. It's 7 Premiership games without a win for Newcastle, and Spurs come to St James's Park tomorrow. Scarborough's first win for nearly 2 months came at Doncaster. Gareth Williams paved the way for the opener. His burst set up Jamie Mitchell for the slide rule finish. But Doncaster were level when player-manager Kerry Dixon, a former England striker, rolled back the years with a top-class finish. But the Seasiders took the points when Doncaster failed to clear Andy Ritchie's free kick. The ball fell for Mitchell. He scored his second, and the 3 points were more than welcome. Hartlepool thought they'd held out for a point at Carlisle till 8 minutes from time. Then the Cumbrians worked a short corner to perfection, and Lee Peacock headed the game's only goal. York and Darlington had their games frozen off yesterday. They should be back in action tomorrow, but Darlington face a pitch inspection in the morning to see if their game with Leyton Orient gets the go-ahead.
In racing, frost hit the region's Boxing Day programme, but Newcastle may come to the rescue tomorrow. There'll be an inspection at 8 o'clock in the morning to see if the meeting can go ahead. They couldn't race today after a mixture of snow, rain and frost last night, but the temperatures rose and most of the snow and frost is gone. Clerk of the course, David McAllister, is keeping his fingers crossed, and so is Dougie Moscrop. His weekend tips are both in action at High Gosforth Park. The banker is number 1, Easby Joker, in the 2 o'clock, and in the money spinner, number 15, Aid Memoir, in the 1:30. That's it for part 1. After the break, Mike Neville will be here with the 1996 North East News Quiz, and we'll be going back in time, the death-defying antics of the Tyne Bridge builders captured on film. That's next tonight.
Do get your paws on the special packs of Andrex toilet tissue. They offer free children's seats for Disney's 101 Dalmatians. Just one 9-roll pack, for instance, gets you one free child seat. Well, you know how many you need. It depends on the size of your litter.
You'll get a great deal on a new 3-piece suite and selected cabinetware in the big sale at Dickens. Option 1. Buy between 9 and 2 o'clock and we'll take 15% off our normal prices. Option 2. Buy between 2 and 8 o'clock, pay a 10% deposit, pay not a penny more for 6 months, and then take up to 3 years interest-free credit. The big sale at Dickens, Stockton, Washington, Shire Moor and Scotswood Road, Newcastle.
Nice, isn't it?
I've seen more material on an handkerchief. Are you on a nudist beach?
Oh, shut up, Roy. There'll be all the rage in Greece. You wait. Where are you going? Tamasalata?
No, Lesbos, actually. Not long down, sand beneath my feet, sun on my face. Empty wallet. No, I just nipped into Thomas Cook. Oh, listen to Aristotle Onassis. No, straight up. £249, apartment, pool, and Portsmouth Larky, 2 weeks. And they had a shed load of other deals. What, Thomas Cook? Yeah, give them a go. You'll be squids in. Who said that?
Thomas Cook. The nice surprise is the prices.
Currys' biggest ever sale is now on with massive savings on all the top brands. Plus, buy now, pay later on many products. Only Currys bring you all this.
Welcome back. Now, you may remember that last year we screened excerpts from a video all about Old Newcastle. Well, it was so successful that the Tyne and Wear Archives decided to produce another video using old film, this time focusing on Gateshead. The result, called Gateshead, A Journey Through Time, is now available, and it provides us with a fascinating glimpse of times gone by.
Journey Through Time starts in 1925 and goes through to the early 70s. But undoubtedly the most compelling sequences are the shots of the building of the Tyne Bridge.
This is an astounding film, which was it's a silent film made by a company for the bridge builders, and it shows in detail the building of the Tyne Bridge between 1925 and 1928. The antics that the steel erectors get into are quite amazing. They seem to have no fear for heights or for their own safety. They swing about on girders, they hang on ropes. It's quite amazing scenes. It was the big event of the interwar period, really. There was nothing to match it in terms of construction. The bridge is often said to be modelled on the Sydney Harbour Bridge. But in actual fact, the contract for the Sydney Harbour Bridge was signed first. So that actually the Tyne Bridge is a reduced copy of Sydney Harbour and not the other way around.
Salt Bothwell Park was one of the finest public parks in the north and one of the few facilities that attracted visitors from outside the town.
It was really a stunning park in its day, and in 1944 it was used for the Holidays at Home, which is a government-sponsored idea to keep people from travelling during the war, keep them off the railways basically. People had a super time by the appearance of the film. They had children's sports, adult sports, they had shows, they had roundabouts, games, and towards the evening they started dancing in the park.
The Team Valley Trading Estate was built to alleviate unemployment in the 1930s.
The King and Queen came to Gateshead to open the Team Valley Industrial Estate. What the film doesn't show, because it was carefully edited not to do so, was that when the King attempted to pull the bow of the celebratory ribbon, it failed to pull apart and it had to be cut by scissors. You can only learn that by reading a newspaper account, it's not in the film.
These are the days before TV, and royal visits were even bigger events than they are today.
People hadn't seen their King and Queen close up. And these royal visits gave them the only opportunity possibly in their lifetimes to see the royal family. And the crowds that turned out for, well, particularly the 1954 visit, are quite astounding.
But the real stars of the video are the people of Gateshead themselves and their images of the past.
Brilliant footage. It's 6:26, time for tonight's main headlines. The family of the British nurse Lucille McLaughlin, charged with murder in Saudi Arabia, say she's told them in a telephone call she's innocent. Concern is growing for the health of a mother whose baby has been found abandoned in a Tyneside garden. Baby Molly is doing well. A Wearside schoolgirl has died from meningitis. Another girl and a baby are ill, but health experts say they're not connected. The region's sales season has got off to a record-breaking start after some bargain hunters queued on freezing pavements over the Christmas break. And there's anger amongst pensioners after the government agreed to give cold weather payments to Scotland and Devon, but not to this region. And that's all from me for the moment, but I'll be back for this year's North East Tonight news quiz, which is coming up in just a minute or two here on Channel 3. So while I'm getting ready for that, here's Bobbert McJohnson with the weather. I'll leave you to it, Bob. Try to get it right this time, will you?
What's he like, eh? He was moaning earlier on, it's white Christmas it is. What white Christmas? Oh, the poor old bookies, what a shame. Oh, look what he's done there. The bookies make the rules up, of course, and why was it a white Christmas? Well, there was some rain showers around. The difference between rain and snow is very small, and poor old things. It was raining during the night, and 1 or 2 flakes of snow appeared, never lay on the ground at all. I'll bet you boots the rules change next year. There's 1 or 2 sleet showers around this evening. The winds in the north, these showers, mainly near the coast there, but as we go through the night, you'll see the winds swinging into the northeast. This means that the showers are going to come further inland. If you're going to stay above freezing, it's going to be near the coast, Newcastle Racecourse perhaps, getting away without a severe frost tonight. The worst of the temperatures out in the west there. So tomorrow, it's a bright day, some sunshine, a scattering of showers, but it's cold again. 5 Celsius is only 41 Fahrenheit, and not a lot changes on the Sunday. Still a northeast wind, still a scattering of showers, but also some sunshine. Extra socks, extra summits. Well, that's all from us just now. As promised by Andrew there, my friend, the news quiz is next with Mike Neville. That's coming up right now. But from all of us here in North East Tonight, do enjoy the rest of the festive season. Bye-bye.
here's your host for the North East News Quiz, Mike Neville.